You know, between A Star Is Born and Bohemian Rhapsody, 2018 is just the year to get the inside look at a musician's psychology.
She's a killer queen, got bad agility, dynamite with a laser beam, guaranteed to blow your mind.
Bohemian Rhapsody. So Bohemian Rhapsody sells itself as being the story of how Queen came to be and their rise to glory, but in actuality, it is more centered on Freddie Mercury's life, but I don't see how that's a bad thing, and it's not completely focused on him, as it does show the life of the band in certain places where it really is important, because we have to remember Freddie is really the face of Queen. Roger, John, and Guy are important too, but come on, it was Freddie's band. And since this is supposed to be a non-biased review, I'm just going to tell you right now, I have nothing but praise for this movie. I'm not even going to talk about the cinematography because it feels unfair at this point. I love the way it was shot, I love the way it was staged and framed, but more importantly, I think that this movie does a fantastic job of making you forget that it's a biopic of Freddie Mercury. It's more like a drama that you're just seeing unfold with some names that you've heard before. Freddie Mercury feels less like a historical icon and more of a person whose journey you're watching take place, and that's due in large part to Rami Malek's incredible performance. I loved him in Until Dawn, I love him in Mr. Robot, and he was fantastic in Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought he was a little too short to be Fred, but hey, he pulls it off great. Something that's important to remember when watching this movie is that Freddie Mercury wasn't a perfect person, you know, his life was rough. He couldn't really accept who he was because the world wasn't ready to accept who he was. They weren't ready for a gay man to be that popular in the music industry. So he had his head. Yep, that's the word. So he partied and slept and drank and snorted his feelings away, and that takes a lot of toll. So he screwed and drank and snorted his feelings away, and that didn't really help him out in the long run. In fact, it was part of what destroyed him. Now, regarding Freddie's homosexuality in this movie, I've heard a lot of people say that they don't like the way it was vilified. You have to remember, it's indicative of a time that was not too friendly towards the gay community. People didn't like that entire demographic of people. So, of course, if you're going to be truly representative of the time, then you're going to have to show some of the ugly side of the world at that point in time. Also, don't worry, it never gets too graphic because remember, this is a PG-13 movie. Now, I don't have to explain to you guys who Queen are because they are and have always been the most electrifying band in rock and roll history. So anytime their music plays, that's instantly one of the best parts of the movie. I love their Wembley performance towards the end of Queen's run. They show the entire concert, and I loved it because, I mean, that concert was one of the biggest moments in Fred's life, and they just showed the entire thing, and I loved it. Trust me, that's not a spoiler, as you cannot spoil history, it's just fact. But without talking for absolutely too long, I loved everything about it. I loved the music because, I mean, who doesn't love Queen music? I was a little disappointed at certain songs that weren't in there, and I will say that you can feel a couple of different ways about how Freddie's life was shown in the movie. There's moments that I expected to see that weren't in there, and at the same time there was stuff that was in there that I never knew about. Like somehow I never knew that Freddie went off and tried to be a solo artist. Found out in this movie though. And as I said before, this isn't just Freddie and his crew. The members of the band, it shows that their lives kind of went in different directions than Freddie's because they found who they were earlier on in life than he did. They were able to accept themselves earlier on in life than he was. They made lives for themselves. They became family men. He never got to have any of that. So while you're watching Freddie crumble, you're also kind of seeing the opposite, whereas the rest of the band just get to live normal lives with the people that they care about. Freddie never had that, so it's not really a huge surprise that he went on this course of self-destruction. Also, the accent coaches in this movie weren't paid enough. I don't care. But I have to rate this thing so I can move on and so that you can move on with your lives. Bohemian Rhapsody is absolutely spectabulous. There's no other way. You know, between the Rolling Stones and Queen and Sir Elton John and Paul McCartney, I think it's apparent that, oh, I almost forgot David Bowie. England just gives the world's greatest musicians, and it doesn't make any sense. But Bohemian Rhapsody, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Comment below and educate me. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, I'm actually going to put more videos on screen for you because I like you that much.